ese hombre holding up the bottle. Look a little closer, cigar and Moscato. An actor in improv coming from Chicago. Outdoors, make way for
I'm an improviser, so if you go higher, I'll probably go higher. The next thing you know, you'll just see us from here.
We'll go into Spanish, and then nobody knows what's going on.
Nadie sabe nada.
Nadie va a saber nada.
Nadie va a saber nada. It's amazing to see you face to face. It's been a rough couple years, with the pandemic and stuff. And I've gotten used to doing this, for auditions and whatnot. But it is wonderful to touch base with you, Richard. Thank you so much for taking time to do this. No,
thank you for inviting me, man. Thank you very much. I love the sound effects. It makes me feel like there is an audience listening to us, like somebody in there.
Yeah. Even if it's just a few people, it's great because it is nice to get that feedback. And then if it ever bothers people, we can turn the sound effects off. Thank you, guys. Yeah, give Richard a round of applause. And the nice thing is that it lives on the platform. So I like it, because we could just record this on Zoom or wherever, and then we'll have a great conversation. But I love the live aspect to it, the feedback, and then we can. Then it lives on the platform, so people can actually come back and listen to it. And then what I do is I download it. It's also simulcast right now to YouTube, to Facebook, and to Twitch. So I just leave it there. It's unedited, mistakes and all. And then what I'll do is I'll download it and then re-upload it as a legit podcast with an intro and an outro and all that good stuff.
Nice. Good. Yeah. So how you been, man? How's Vegas?
Vegas, it's getting hot again. It's crazy. I mean, it's always great until the middle of summer, when it's 120 and fat guys like me are like, oh my God, it's, but you're in a casino all the time, or you're in your home. I had a store, for 10 years inside Binion's Casino. So you go from your air conditioned car or Uber to the casino to your home. So it's fine. But, it's going to start.
As long as you're not a roofer in Nevada, you're good. As long as you're not doing roofing or landscaping, you're good, man.
And that's and because Mexicans that's what we do out here, and it's freaking crazy,
bro. Stuff.
We're willing to take. Well, not we, but Mexicans are willing to take those. My dad said he worked hard his whole life, so I didn't have to, and I said, okay.
Right. Why would I disappoint him now?
I don't want to disappoint him. I don't want to disappoint my dad. So, Richard, it is so good to see you. And again, I really want to thank you for taking time from your busy day and joining me. And then I want to cover so much. And if we don't, you can always come back because you're always welcome.
Start up, man. I'm good, man. I'm ready to answer whatever you want to know.
Wonderful. That's perfect. The interrogation shall begin. So Richard, I guess, let's start in the beginning and work our way and see how far we get. And if you have to go, by all means, please, you're by no means hostage here, but I appreciate you being here.
No, I'm good. Let me just make sure this doesn't die on us when we're putting it together, because I want to make sure that we have enough energy and mistakes and all. That's what we love about this podcast. See, trying to get this so I can get into the story. I don't want it to cut off midway there.
It's fantastic. I love your backdrop. I've seen it. I think in podcasts or what's the story? Is that
this is a story? I didn't steal it, by the way. I did not steal the sign. It was bought at a thrift store. My brother-in-law was nice enough to have it in his garage. And he says, Richard, would you like this? Do you know what you would do with this? Would you want to put it on your podcast as a piece? I said, you know what? This is exactly what I need. So not only does it do that, but we also put lights in these. Hold on, there you go. Bam! So now you see the full effect. Once the podcast goes on, both booths have the little lights, and that's it. Something I have fun with when we're doing the podcast, American Illegals.
American Illegals is your podcast. So how long have you been? It's a great name, by the way, too.
Thank you. It's been a year now. We've been producing the podcast for a year, and in there I talk about selling crack with my dad in Compton. We talk about how he became a pimp, comedy world, people that I've toured with. What else? Everything, man, from the 10 feature films I produced for these company in Mexico that they were all gangster movies, to guests. We'll have guests come in that are performing here at the local comedy club, and we'll tell them, "Hey, come on over. Let's talk to you." And that's it, man. It's just chit chat.
That is something I really wanted to get into. Was well, of course, the selling crack at an early age. It's such a fascinating story that I've heard, but my listeners haven't. So, if you don't mind telling it again, but also then I found out that you produced these movies, which a buddy of mine, Noel G. I think we have a common friend, Noel G. Which, if people don't know, he's the Chicano in every single film.
He's a cholo in every cholo movie. I would say.
He was Hector in Fast and the Furious, and he was in the movie with Bruce Almighty where monkeys flew out of his ass. That's probably the first thing that he was known for. I actually interviewed earlier today. I interviewed Citric. Do you know Citric? Anthony.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, Noel's name came up. And I told Citric, I'm like, holy I go, man, I thought you were Noel G. I'm sorry. I meant to interview him, not you.
I know both of them really well. I've got to work with both of them.
Now, so have you ever met Johnny Sanchez, the guy that owns the Toy Shack in Las Vegas? He was the toy expert on Pawn Stars, but he runs with Noel G sometimes. So if you ever come out, I'll introduce you to him. I think.
Okay. Yeah. Noel G had told me about him.
Yes.
But I've never personally have met him. I've never personally met that toy guy. I know
what
you're talking about the toy guy. He doesn't get offended if you tell him the toy guy, does he?
Yeah.
He does?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's either the toy expert or Johnny Toy Shack or the toy expert. Yeah. He's the toy guy. He owns a Toy Shack in Vegas, and he was many seasons on Pawn Stars as the toy expert. So, he's a grown man playing with toys.
Yeah.
Let's go to the beginning, man. So now, were you born in the U.S. or in Mexico, or what's your...
So the story here's the beginning. I was born in Compton, California, Martin Luther King Hospital. My parents, when I was 3, decided, no, we're going to go back to Mexico and we're going to start again. And they did. And then in 88, Mexico had this huge, like they went into like the depression. And so the peso was worth nothing. My dad lost everything. We flee back to the U.S. So we end up in Compton, California again. And then now we find ourselves with no money, 4 of us in 1 bedroom with my dad. And my dad had no papers, couldn't work legally. And so he was offered the opportunity by a cousin, hey, you sell crack cocaine here in Compton and you can have a house. So my dad said, I don't speak English. And they were like, but Richard does. I'm Richard. I became the translator at that moment. So then my dad's like, but I don't know anybody here. He says, but your brother's a crackhead. Just give him some crack at night. He'll tell everybody how great your crack is. And he's like, but I don't know how to cook this thing called crack. He says, your wife's an excellent cook. Listen, you have all the tools to start this business. It's like making cookies, except you can't lick the spoon at the end, all right? It's the same concept, stir. And that's it. And that's how we started our business, man. At the age of 10, I now became part of the business because you understand that the knocks at the door at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, you want to get through that transaction as quick as possible. Well, we're getting is stolen goods and giving in return cocaine. So it was like I had to be on my A game, man. We had so much traffic. I don't know how much your viewers knows about crack in the 80s in Compton, late 80s. There was very bad crack back then. People were getting pieces of potato. So if you're a crackhead back in 88, you know what I'm talking about. But because we were so good at our quality, because my dad, of course, he was not going to cheat anybody. He's an honest man. He would make sure he made good crack. And it was so good that we became so popular. My dad opened up a candy store. Why? Because we need to disguise the traffic that's coming in and out of the house. So guess who ran the candy store? This guy.
How old were you? I'm sorry.
This all happened at the age of 10.
Holy shit.
We were cracking up cocaine at the age of 10 in Compton, and my dad built us a candy store with the only excuse of foot traffic. We do not want our girl attention. So let me tell you something. It is a lot easier to deal with a crackhead than a 5-year-old with 50 cents in his hand. Oh my God! I'm like, just pick something from here to here. That is it. You can. Well, how much is that? You cannot afford. Move, Pancho. He needs crack. What do you want? There you go. Really quick. One item, really quick. it would frustrate me to death, man, because there's crackheads waiting behind them.
The dichotomy of kids coming up to buy candy, or maybe even adults that are just buying soda or candy,
Uh-huh.
and the crackheads like out of my way, like
Yes,
but,
yes, yes.
when I owned my ice cream shop, not to equate the two, but it was so good. It was like crack. I mean, it was the opposite of crack, because when I bought it, I was 200 pounds. When I sold it, I was 300 pounds. So that's how delicious it was. So I would have been a bad crackhead, but it was the same thing. If I had a good customer walk in, I'd wave them to the front of the line, because we were at a train station too. I knew that they had to get on their train, and they knew I'm getting this bag of chips, and I'm getting this, and it's $3. Keep the change. So I could just do a transaction while still helping the person. It's like, can I get another taste of, it's ice cream. You already know how it tastes. Like, yeah. So I love that it's the same principles. It's business, but it's the same principle that any legit business would do. Oh, but I did have a question. It's probably a very dumb question.
It's okay.
That's the way my business brain works. Did you guys actually have a business license for the candy store? Or was that also...
In 88 in Compton, it was very common that housewives would just set up a candy store, which they would get all this candy. It was very common. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to call the cops on you. Oh, no, he just decided to make a little extra money. The kid's running a candy store inside his house.
It makes sense.
Even though my dad made it into a fortress, what they didn't see is the inside was actually plate steel. The walls were plate steel because of the drive-bys. And we understood what we were selling. I mean, he was a welder, so he literally built a fortress in front of our house.
Which still obviously it still stands.
Well, still stands. So I have a video where I went back to Compton recently on my TikTok, and you will see the house. And I talked to the owner, and I said, inside it's a metal wall, right? And he says, how do you know? I said, my dad built that. He's like, yeah, we always wonder, why would anybody put a metal wall of 3 metal sheets of metal here with a window? We never got that. That was a candy store, baby.
It was a candy store. We sold candy. All kinds of candy.
All kinds of candy.
Adult
everybody.
Candy.
Yes.
And now let me ask you this. Do you remember, and I guess I don't need the exact address, because it's still there, but now my ex-wife has it. But we bought a house in Compton, but of course everybody is calling it like south of LA or something, because they don't want to say Compton. So we were at 29th and Maple. Where were you in Compton? Do you remember?
Rosecrans and Alameda. In the corner of Rosecrans and Alameda, if you went one block more, right there where the blue line or the train was built, there used to be a supermarket called Calimix in that corner. People that know, it's right behind Santana Tires. People that know this area and the monuments I'm saying right now, there used to be a Calimix, but the LA riots, they burned it in 92.
And they never rebuilt it, huh?
They never rebuilt it. That's the place is still just burned down.
Was it the same Calimex as what's in Mexico? Was it the Mexican?
No, it was a bootleg version, but that's what it was called, Calimex. And it's not like anybody was going to sue them.
I was in Tijuana. That reminds me. I was in Tijuana. The first time I ever went was with Bobby Lee. I don't know if you know Bobby Lee from.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And of course you do. I'm sorry, that was dumb. And I remember seeing down there a Kentucky Fried Buches was a knockoff of I guess KFC, but it was Kentucky Fried Buches.
Surgeons in Tijuana, they will get Kardashian photos and upload them in big billboards, and they have Kardashian promoting all their stuff. They don't care. They're like, when is Kardashian got to cross the border through driving here? No, put it there. She takes flights. She's never going to see this.
She's never. That is funny, man.
Who does she sue? What company? Go find me. Who? Well, I didn't do it. We'll go to the product. I didn't tell anybody to do that. Did you authorize this? No. Okay, we'll take it down then. We didn't know. I didn't know they wanted to promote our product. We didn't do that.
Yeah. We are slick. We are a slick people. Hey, but you know what? We're sitting where you and I are both sitting, standing, wherever. This used to be Mexico, so it's a little comeuppance maybe.
Hey, at the age of 28, I married a Border Patrol agent. Everybody looked at me like, "Wow, where'd you guys meet?" I said, "The river." No, not the river. No, I actually married a Border Patrol agent. It was like crazy because she would patrol I'm from Mexicali, and she would patrol Calexico, which is the opposite of that
Sure.
border. And I always had this fear, 'cause now we're married and I'm going to family events. If an uncle or somebody, a cuñado, is gonna go, that's her, bro, that's her. Like they freak out. Like I've always had that fear of going to every quinceañera and every wedding. I hope they don't recognize you here. I hope they don't recognize you here, because we're gonna have to leave. You're gonna mess up the party.
Where did you guys meet?
We met there in Calexico. I was there doing a show, but I didn't know she was Border Patrol. As you just meet a girl in regular clothes, and we're talking, we're dancing, and then we build a relationship. Then she says, I'm a Border Patrol. I said, why didn't you tell me before? She's like, uh, because I don't know you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't understand. Like the cartel at that time, they were offering $50,000 for any Border Patrol, dead or alive. So
Wow.
the
Yeah.
way I found out was this. I was in Mexicali. I went to visit her, and I brought my brother this time, and I brought some friends, and they said, well, let's go dance, to Mexicali. Let's go to a nightclub in Mexicali. So we're having a good time in Mexicali. This is Mexico now. And then I said, like, what do you do for a living? We're in the dance floor, because she brought her friends. And we're in the dance floor, and she's like, I'm a Border Patrol agent. You're a Border Patrol agent? That's when I find out. And I said, your friend too? And she's like, yeah. And I'm in Mexico in a discotheque, just having a good time. And I just start screaming out to my brother, my friend, hey, bro, they're Border Patrol. And her face just turns white, grabs me. She runs. The other girl, they start running out. We bail out. I'm like, I'm freaking out. I don't know why we're running now. And as soon as we're in the truck and we're heading towards the border, she says, you cannot say that. You understand? Right now, the cartel has $50,000 for any Border Patrol that are alive. We're talking about 2008, when it was the hottest. So that's how I found out she was a Border Patrol, by snitching her out in the nightclub.
You're an idiot, because you could have made $150,000 that night.
Oh, I never thought about that way. You're right. Paul, I didn't know her back then. I could have really used that money.
You could have used that money. Jesus. Wow. What a story. But of course, love is blind. And you know what? They're doing their job, whether they believe it wholeheartedly. I'm sure some enforce it more than others and are more almost racist about it. But she's doing her job, and hey, she's protecting our country's borders. We can't just have open borders. No other country does. But
this being married to her, I got an opportunity to just dig in there and say, dude, what's going on? Like, what's going on in that border? Like, why is there this big stigma? And he says, we don't mistreat people. This is the problem. Is for years that we're mistreated by other Border Patrol agents. As the years go by, we're trained. We have sensitivity training. We have certain trainings. We have certain regulations. You're not supposed to put your hands on this person. We're really, really nice to everybody, regardless if they're drug dealers or not, regardless of the record. We're really nice, but the stigma is still there.
Sure.
It's not going to go away, because nobody ever promotes the nice things we do. The people that we do save out there in that desert, the people that almost died, the people that we drag out of there. I've saved little babies. We're out there giving them CPR because the parents decided to bring them through that border, and I saved this kid. But nobody's applauding that Border Patrol agent. They're not applauding the cartels or the terrorists that they're stopping, or the drugs that they stop. But they crucify them for stopping illegal immigration. And in a sense, look, I'm Mexican-American, and I made it very clear. This is my motherland too. It's not that I love Mexico less, but I have a daughter that lives here now, and she's an American. She's a Mexican-American, and she learns Spanish and English, and she will appreciate both countries. But I still have to have a good country for her to be in. You understand? Like, I still have to protect her and make sure that this is our home. I build my home here. You build your home there. We both respect each other. But it's going to be an ongoing problem when there's need. When you're a developing country like Mexico, and there is need, I can't blame them either. You understand? If you're asking me as a father, would I risk everything? Yes. To give my kid a better life? Yes. So, you're torn. You're torn.
Have you put her to work yet, selling crack or anything, or?
She's 8. No, she's 7. But
3 years.
we are starting slow, baby steps. Just weed for now. I want her to know how to do pre-rolls. So I'm working with a couple of dispensaries, and they just bring the raw material, and then we pre-roll. And she's there. Oh my god, tamal. She's oh no, my god, esa niña. The things she does with those papers. But look, she gets creative. She does holiday things with zigzags and stuff like that. Oh, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I love it. I love it. Great. The tradition continues. But I did have a question. So, and you kind of, I mean, you mentioned it, you didn't gloss over it, but your mom actually cooked the crack. I mean, she learned how to do it. And
yeah. But this is the thing. It's so many people would say that to me. Say, where was your mom in all this?
she was cooking the crack.
What world do you live in that you think my mom had a right to speak?
Yeah.
What world did you live in? Because in the world I live in, my mom did not get an opinion. She got an order. She got ordered to do something. So when people say, where was your mother and all this? She was right next to us, making sure we didn't get hit.
Yeah.
That's what she was. So don't judge my mom. My dad made a decision, but at the end of the day, my mom said, ¿Qué hago yo? Mijo, what do I do? Run away with 4 kids? If your dad and me couldn't do it together, you think me running away with you 4? I'm going to make it out there? Says I have to do whatever your dad tells me to do at this point.
Right.
Either that or we live in this room forever. And you're like, okay, it is what it is. We're going to do what we got to do.
That's
So it's
amazing.
it's easy for people to point fingers. It's easy for people to judge. And I would tell people, they tell me what happened to you was child abuse. I said, are you kidding me? I had a dad in 1988 in Compton. Do you know how many people wished they had my life? My dad didn't smoke crack. He sold crack to your dad. He had a job.
Yeah.
You understand how much time I got to spend with him because he wouldn't let me go out there and play? Because I was in there making crack with my dad. And in that time, dad would teach me this is what a man does. This is what you got to do. And I had all of his attention. The amount of respect you get from your father when he knows, shit, this kid is growing up way faster than we thought he was. But look, he's stepping up to the challenge, and I can trust him. I can leave him in the house. He knows the rules. He knows how everything works. Shit. All right. We got a partner. The bad thing is I'm only 10, Dad. Oh my God, I'm only 10.
So you were there, I mean, there must have been non-Spanish speaking clients and customers, but so you would just translate for them? Like,
yeah. Every night. When you live in a crack house, every night there's gonna be knocks at the door. Like I would be sleeping during the day at school because I was up negotiating tools, bicycles, TVs, whatever a crackhead brought. My dad never turned down. I guess he was not the smartest drug dealer either. Because we got a piano, surfboards. I said, Dad, we don't even go to the beach. He got a bus. One night, I'll tell you what happened one night. My dad, the crack kid, I don't know where he got it in Compton, but he showed up with a goat. And he wanted an 8-ball. And I'm like, Dad, why do you want this goat? And my dad was stubborn. He's like, no, tell him I'll give him 2 grams. And I'm negotiating. I'm tired. I'm like, Dad, why do you want a goat? Where the hell are we going to put a goat? He goes, shh, the goat is pregnant. Cállate. I was like, what? How do you know that the goat is pregnant? He says, I've been dealing with goats all my life as a kid. This one is a good one. He doesn't know what he's giving up. He was so
Chivos, man. That's Chivo, right? I mean, the food.
Chivo goat, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you make barbacoa from it. My father was from Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico. I think that's what they're known for, is their chivo, man.
Yeah. And so my dad negotiated. He got the goat, and sure enough, a week later, the goat gave birth to 2 little goats. So now we have a makeshift corral in the backyard in Compton with goats. I'm like, Dad, why do we want goats? He says, para la leche, mijo.
Goat milk.
Really? Dad, we sell crack cocaine. We can afford regular milk. Why would you buy goats? Es mejor. La del goat, the goat milk is way better milk.
Your dad was a yuppie before such a thing existed. He was I mean, he would have made himself at home at Whole Foods. Like, yeah, mira, goat milk, yeah.
Everything would have been fine. Yes, he would have been a yuppie, but he was a different kind of person. He liked old school, but one day those goats, why? Because those goats escaped that makeshift corral. Those little goats, they grew up and they were able to jump over the corral.
Sure.
They're so agile as small little goats. Well, they ended up at the Calimex eating the produce. They ended up in the supermarket. They got out of the corral, the two little goats, and they ended up in the corner supermarket in the Calimex. And the neighbor sees them and calls and says, "Hey, your goats are in the supermarket." So now my dad gets a pickup truck. Orale, vámonos! And we're all rushing to the supermarket to get our goats. And sure enough, my dad, "Get in the back. The goats go in the front. They're going to jump again." So now we're in the back of a pickup truck. Goats are inside in the cabin with my dad. We get there. And sure enough, the cops show up right behind us. You know what I mean? Like, what is the Calimex going to do? There's goats here. We have to call 911 and tell them there's goats. So the cops show up. Now, remember, Paul, we're selling crack. We don't need this kind of attention. And now the cops are here. And my dad has a goat right in front of him. And the cop goes, "Sir, you can't have livestock here. This is illegal. Do you have another goat?" He says, "No, this is the only goat." Of course, we had another goat. He's lying. "Sir, I'm going to have to go in there and check. Now, I don't have a search warrant. I'll come back with one. But you let me know, is this your goat? And is there another goat?" And my dad's like, "No, this is a food." He goes, "What? This is a food. I eat. This is a food." He says, "No, sir, that is a live goat. That is livestock." "Oh, okay. It's a livestock? Okay." My dad grabs his knife in front of the cop and slices the throat of the goat right in front of him. And
now it's food.
Food. It's food. The cop just got in the cop car and left. He says, "Not my problem anymore. We don't even need animal control." He just made it food in a second. I was like, oh my God, he slit that goat's throat. I don't think any hipster would have done that, bro.
No, fuck no. That
But it freaked me out. I still remember that moment, man, because I'm like, if he did that to the goat, imagine what he's gonna do to us.
Fuck yeah, that's what the cop thought too.
Yeah,
the cop was like, "I'm getting out of here before this motherfucker slashes my throat."
Yeah, so yeah, like this, you end up becoming a comic, man.
Yeah, what else can you possibly do? Of course, I mean, these stories are great. What was your first experience with comedy? I mean, maybe growing up you were funny and entertaining and all that, because that's usually what seems to be the story. Like, oh, I was, the funniest kid in school or whatnot. But then, did that happen with you? I mean, you were tired. My God, you must have been exhausted from
selling crack and all that.
Yeah,
the crack always helped. No, I remember as a small kid, because I come from four other siblings, so all boys, and we were all craving my dad's attention. And I remember that at the age of 5, my dad would get so drunk, get out of the bars at 3 a.m, and he would wake me up because during the day he had taught me all these dirty Spanish Pepito jokes. And what he loved to do was get drunk with his friends, bring them over to the house. Of course, I have to go to kindergarten, but my dad would wake me up, give me a Budweiser and a cigarette, and says, "Mijo, tell him the jokes," and he would give me $1. And I would perform jokes at 3 a.m. for my dad on top of his car. And his buddies thought it was the funniest thing. And I thought it was great because he would wake me up. He wouldn't wake any other brother up on me. So I kept learning these jokes till the age of 8. I always was that guy that would tell these dirty jokes to my dad and all his friends.
Do you obviously? I mean, you remember? Would you be gracious enough to share just one or two of those jokes? I hate telling comedians, "Oh, tell me a joke."
No. In Spanish, in Spanish is okay. These jokes are like given, like these are like vaudeville stuff, but it's like in español, in Spanish.
Yeah, please.
Llega el borracho con el cantinero y le dice, "Oiga, cantinero, présteme su teléfono, voy a llamar a mi casa, mi vieja. Vieja, prepárate para hacer el amor 5 veces. Ay, viejo, ¿a poco vienes tan cachondo? No, vengo con 4 amigos."
Yeah.
So it would be jokes like that, dirty jokes like that. Like, we're gonna get ready to have sex 5 times. Ooh, are you that horny? No, I'm coming with 4 friends.
Brilliant. But even like, you're drunk acting and you've got a beer and a cigarette right at 5.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. It was the Budweiser. I would drink half of it and like blow the smoke out. But my mom would know that he had snuck me out because I would pee my pants. Like, you can't shove a Budweiser down this kid's throat and not expect him to pee his pants. Now he's smelling like urine going to kindergarten because Mom couldn't give him a shower that they just changed him. Let's go. I gave you a shower last night for this reason. My
Oh,
mom would be so upset. But once again, is she doesn't have a choice, man. They were just raised differently.
of course. I mean, I like to call those the good old days. Now they talk back to you. No,
Yeah.
it's horrible. Sorry.
Horrible.
Uh,
So, go ahead,
yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, but that's exactly it. Even my grandmother, my mother's mother, told her, if Pablo, who's my father, if
Mhm.
Pablo says that the sky is red and it's blue, it's red. I mean, this is her own mother telling her daughter, you're gonna do whatever you're his now. Basically, like, you're his now. Whatever he tells you, that's just the way it is. And my mom was, of course, feisty because she was quite younger than my father. And my dad always looked old, but always kept his hair, full head of hair, which was, I think my mom liked that. Everyone thought, growing up when I was in kindergarten, they thought that my father was my grandfather because he had me when he was like in his 40s. So he already looked old, gray hair, and they thought my mom was my sister. So they would like rat me out a lot of times, like Maria, your brother Paul, like he did this, and then she'd be like, I'm gonna go tell
Uh-huh.
his dad or whatever, and then they thought that my dad was my grandpa. It was just, there's a story that a guy from work came looking for my dad, and the thing is, my mom always called him daddy, so that we would call him dad or daddy. So, and it wasn't like in a creepy way, like the kids use it now, like, hey daddy, hey poppy.
It was innocent back then.
And so the guy knocks, and my mom answers the door. He's like, is Pablo here? And my mom goes, yeah, let me get him. She goes, daddy. So he comes out, and apparently the guy thought, he goes, wow, your daughter's so nice. My father just starts seething. He's like, Maria, she comes out. He goes, this is my wife. And the guy's like, oh my goodness, Pablo, sorry. Wow, she looks so young. Like, Pablo, like, like, you're a pervert.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's but you're right. It was one of those things where that's just the culture of the time. I mean, I guess I'm glad things are changing, but it's tough. It's something that I battle, is that misogyny, and it's like, well, don't ask me why. Just I told you to do it, type of a thing. So I guess that's why I'm single.
I've come to my conclusions. I'm 44, and I go, you know what, babe? I don't care. You know what I mean? Do whatever you want to do. I'll do whatever I want to do. I get it, but I'm not going anywhere. This is it. Like, I'm leaving. I'm not going to go anywhere. This is it. This is how it's going to work. If for some reason one day you do not love me anymore, I am not a selfish person. I want you to be happy. Go out there and find your other half, and then bring him over here, because he's going to pay half the rent, because I'm not going anywhere. We're all going to live together. All right? He'll cut the grass in the front. I'll cut the grass in the back. Hell, we'll split the rent. I think I'm going to like this guy, as long as he doesn't sit on my couch. But yeah, bring him. I don't care. I'll give you the big room with the bathroom, because I love you guys. Trust me, you want date nights? I'm the best babysitter. She's my daughter.
Do you only have
I'm
one
not
kid?
going. Yes, and I'm not leaving her. I already told her, bring whoever you love. I'm staying here till she's 18.
I mean,
I'm
and
not
you've
leaving.
gone above and beyond the Call of Duty, from what I understand, with your daughter, as far as
Yes.
protecting her.
Oh no, yeah, dude. That is my biggest investment. That is it. That's my legacy. That's what I leave behind. If I can raise a decent human being with ethics and morals, good. There you go, mija. Be strong, be beautiful, and be brave.
That's amazing. And you've taken photos, though, of yourself, have you not?
Of myself? What do you mean?
Yeah, for when people when she gets to high school.
Yes. You don't understand. She is gonna be a knockout. She is already looking like her mom. She's gonna be beautiful. But I know that somebody out there is gonna ask her for a picture of her boobs. And this happens. Paul, this happens. And let's not be ignorant about this. Parents, open your eyes. Open your eyes and talk to your daughters and let them know, is your boyfriend pressuring you? Because there is the pressure. Show me a proof of your love. If you don't trust me, you won't send me this. So you know what you do, guys? what I did. I have boobs. I don't know if you can tell, but I have boobs. And let me tell you, nipples are beautiful, pink, delicious. Oh my God. And I shaved my chest. This is what I did for my daughter right now. I shaved my chest, no hair, and then I put glitter like this so it can look bigger. And then I picked them up and I took a selfie and I took off my head and I took off my belly. And all you see is my nice, beautiful boobs. And I'm saving that for my daughter. I am, because when she grows up and I say, Mika, if your boyfriend ever pressures you to show him one of those pictures, send him that. Tell him they're the Villa boobs. Here you go. You're not lying to him. So when they start spreading it around, because these kids, they can't keep the secret. They're going to put it up on social media. My daughter can go, there you go. Those are my daddy's boobs. Haha.
Those are
And
daddy's.
this is what I'm going to do. I can't wait to go to the school and they discover that those were my boobs. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go and whistle at the guys and go, remember these guys? And they're gonna get a little hard on, bro. They're gonna get a little hard on and they don't know why. I can't wait.
That is genius, my friend. I mean, you've gone above and beyond what most other parents are gonna do.
No, you gotta be innovative. You understand? You gotta beat
Sure.
these kids to the punch, man. You gotta be proactive when it comes to this type of shit.
I love it, and I'm sure you're gonna ask them then to hashtag you and tag you if they start spreading your man boobs all over.
Yes.
So I'm sure.
Yes. If I go viral with my man boobs, bro, can you imagine that? All these girls are gonna go to their doctors. No, I want the saggy look, just like Richard's. I want the saggy look. No, can you add hair to mine? Oh my God, I want it to be like Richard's.
I want the Richard with a beautiful
Yeah.
pink nipple. How'd you
And pretty soon I'm gonna do a service to a lot of people. There's men out there that say, well, Richard, I'm not gifted as you. I don't have boobs like you. Mine look too masculine. I don't have a husband to do that for me. I am gonna provide them with a picture. I am ready to just show you step by step on how to shave your chest, take the selfie, and make it look like cleavage. We're gonna go through a whole tutorial. So if they want to join me on TikTok, I will let them know so they can do it on their own at home.
I think it's. I love your TikTok. I think it's brilliant, and especially if you're using it for good. I mean, if you need help, let me know because I think I'm willing to help out. Some single moms out there. I love single moms, so let me help them out.
Yes. Dude, these boobs are gonna go out there to help the entire community. But I need more guys that have the courage to do what I'm doing because right away they're gonna catch on. These kids are gonna see my boob. Oh no, we not. Those are Richards. We
Recognize
need more boobs. We need more support. I'm starting a group if you want to join me. It's Men Boobs of America, where we all basically donate our boobs to families and little girls that are being pressured to show their body. Go there and collect men's boobs. I mean, I don't know. There's different types of tones of skin. So we're going to need African-American, Asian. We're going to need Latinos. I want everybody represented in man boobs across America. So if you can help me with this, Paul, this would be great. There's a lot of single mothers out there that would need our help. So I think it's a good cause. We're gonna do it.
And you know what? I am a big fan, of course, of the boobs and whatnot. But I'm more of a fan of helping out there and using social media to do that. And I think TikTok is a great platform where I mean, I saw that. Oh, well, that did remind me though. I studied nursing actually in college.
Uh-huh.
So.
Nice.
Thank you. But no, but your TikTok's very interesting because I'd like to get up to those. We have like 23,000 followers. Was that just organic, or I'm guessing it's organic? But you've put out both of your comedy, but also some very helpful videos helping immigrants
across the border
from Mexico cross into the U.S.
Okay. So the whole thing is, I was married to this woman who was a border patrol agent. So I got a lot of knowledge. I gathered a lot of knowledge on strategies that they use, tips, things that they're doing, how to survive out there. I mean, it goes from merchandise that you can use to actually cross the border. So she would tell me all these tricks. Like, for example, what would she tell me? Smell all the illegal immigrants. Smell them all. Smell the group. Whoever smells like perfume or like he took a shower that day, because everybody else is going to stink. Whoever smells the freshest, that's the coyote. That's the guy that's guiding them because he got to eat breakfast that morning and take a shower before he went out. And she says, that's how we know the difference. I was like, wow. So now I'm telling the world, hey guys, if you're a coyote, go in there stinky, bro. Don't even take a shower because they're going to get you. Second, molcajete. And people have commented on this. People that are not from Mexico, maybe more from other parts of Latin America, Ecuador, Chile, Venezuela. Un molcajete is the grinding stone.
Sure, the mortar
Right?
and
We know. Yeah.
yeah.
A grinding stone that we use in Mexico to make salsa. Well, Latin America doesn't call it molcajete, and there's no reason why you should bring one when you're going to cross the border. It's dead weight. So what Border Patrol agents say, where are you from? They want to say Mexico, so they just get tossed on the very other side of the fence. But when you say Chile, they send you all the way to Chile. So they lie and say, I'm from Mexico. And they're like, no. Okay, you're Mexican? Where's your molcajete? Every Mexican brings his molcajete. Did you bring yours? And they start pretending like they lost their molcajete. And they're like, nah, you don't even know what that is. You're getting deported. They catch you with key words, man.
Molcajete.
So there's 100 of these that she would tell me, these tricks of the trade that I can give people to learn. Okay, this is when we can cross.
That's brilliant. Now, I also saw a shoe. Is this for real? Is it a joke, or is it really a shoe that's made?
These are called brinco shoes. They've been around for a while, since my wife was a Border Patrol agent. She actually got to see them and says, where'd you get these shoes? Because they have a map of the California border all the way through Texas on the bottom of the shoe. So if you get lost, you can just get your shoe and turn it around, and it's an actual map. Okay, it comes with compartments that you can hide money or anything else underneath the shoe, with zippers that are very hidden. So even if the coyotes come in and take off your shoes, they won't know. They can't rob you. You'll still have money there. It comes with a compass. It comes with a knife. It comes with matches. It comes with a bunch of little things that come into shoes. And what they do is they donate these to people that are going to cross the border. If you ever want to know, if you ever wanted to help these people, they're usually in the local parks. That's where they're waiting to cross. So that's where they'll sleep at night. That's where they're hanging out in Mexicali. In Mexicali or Tijuana, there's certain parks that are dedicated just for them. Hay refugio. There's certain places there around there because they know they go to the park that they can get their food. So if you wanted to donate for people that are still out there and they haven't crossed, or people that sometimes just get stuck there, man. They just say, well, This is it. This is home now. Mexicali, Tijuana.
You've given me inspiration, because I'm going to go to Mexico, close to LA or Vegas. I'm going to get caught, and when they're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, do the whole molcajete thing, and then go like, "All right, I'm from Chile," because I've always wanted to visit Chile. So
maybe hey,
Patagonia. I'm from Patagonia.
Listen, oh my God, that is brilliant. Me and my wife were gonna go to Cancun, but forget this. We're gonna go to the border. I speak Spanish. You speak Spanish.
They'll pay for the trip. Fuck it.
Yeah. Now you know what? My little girl will rat me out. Her accent is really thick. She's a no sabo kid. She's okay. No sabo donde we go.
No sabo.
Oh my God! Never mind.
For those of you that don't speak Spanish, it's no cepo. No, I'm kidding.
No cepo.
It's no say. She's so dumb. It's actually no cepo.
Hey, niña, no supo decir.
But that's so funny that they would use these tricks. So, because I wasn't sure if it was, so it really is like a public service announcement, the border crossing.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. You, like, for example, your containers, you're going to carry a gallon of water, but water is reflective. So you need to spray paint it with a flat black paint outside. Make sure that doesn't reflect, and then fill it up with water. Do not take containers with just water or bottles of water. They're going to reflect, and the helicopter or the Border Patrol can see it from far away.
Amazing. Wow. Okay. So great tips so that we can reappropriate Aslan, so we can take Aslan.
Oh, there you go. So now also watering holes. I'll have a map posted up where you can actually create your route around those watering holes, because you will run out of water, but there are people that go out there and fill up those water holes so people that are out in the desert can get some.
And of course, there are people out there that go out and destroy those,
of course. They go in, or the worst thing is sometimes if they poison it or they do anything to it, that would be even worse. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Wonderful.
So yeah, it's something that I thought it was fun, and just because it was so much knowledge. And my brother says, what else besides comedy could you contribute to TikTok? And I said, well, I can get every paisa over here with a bunch of advice. And he's like, well, there you go, man. How to cross the border 101. Just
that's
start
brilliant.
Naming every little tip. how to disguise your footprints, how they track you down. They use these tires dragging around the road so they can see your footprints. So what you want to do is put carpet underneath your feet or cardboard, and
So
you'll
as
never
you're
leave a footprint.
walking,
It
you're
looks like
eliminating your
it,
footprint.
it, it looks like real thick, shaggy carpet. That's it. It looks like a pattern. That's it. That it goes away. Man,
Brilliant, brilliant.
oh my God.
So yeah, how did you get to 23,000 followers? Which some people are like, oh, I'm at
Okay.
a million, and then other people are like, I only have a couple hundred.
What I ended up doing nothing is just my brother. He's South Central Dad. I don't know if you know who South Central Dad is, but he works for BuzzFeed, and he was telling me, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? And I said, because I don't know. I don't know. For 20 years, I've never known. I don't know this. And my brother's like, really? Well, how much material do you have? All of this, 20 years of jokes. What do you want to do with this? Give it to me. Let the world see it. You don't do it anymore, right? No. You have new material, right? Yeah. Can I burn these 8 hours? Yeah. So that's all he did. He said, here we go. Let the world see your jokes. Boom, 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 boom,
Nice.
boom. And that's it. He said, just put up all this material. Why aren't you putting it up? I don't know. I don't even know how to put a title. This is difficult for me. I'm on a cell phone right now going like, yeah, God, it works. You understand? So I'm
Brilliant.
44. When I started, I was giving out flyers to people. Do you understand? That's how I promoted my comedy shows. I
Of course.
had I had a little black book in my wallet, and I opened it up, and I would send text message to everybody, one after one. That's it. So my brother, knowing what he knows, he's helped me out a lot in 7 days, man. This blew up in 7 days.
Really?
In
Wow.
7 days. This blew up in
So
seven
how long
days.
have you been on TikTok then?
No, I've been on TikTok for a long time, but it
But
was I was maybe at 300 when I first started, and then I put up a Vicente Fernandez and Luis de Alba meeting, and that one went viral. When they two met, because you're like, wow, how did these two end up together? Tell us the story. And so, sorry. So when this
no.
happened, TikTok went crazy, and they're like, oh my God, and everybody starts sharing, and then Vicente dies. So it just goes, my account goes to 5,000. But my brother says, but that's Vicente. You're not going to get another 300 Vicentes. Where's your material? And I said, oh, yeah, you're right. He says, okay, now let's promote Richard. Here you go. And so he started doing all this. He says, work with other people, man. Start collaborating with other
Collab. Yeah.
people. And I'm going to tell you something, what the frustration was that I told my brother in this whole social media game is this. Now that I see there's an audience, now that I see that they're responding, it motivates me to write even more. It motivates me to create even more because I know there's an audience and you are listening. So I'm going to make more. I get more and more excited. And it's hard to even get started because you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel because it went to the Vicente Fernandez video and then it stayed there for like a year and did not move. I was like, wow. And I would try and nothing. And my brother said, no, it's your material. Just give him your stand-up, man. What do you want to be known for? A mechanic or a stand-up? Then why are you doing mechanic videos? Do videos that you want people to know you for. I said, oh, you're right. That's it. And then at the end of the 101 Ways to Cross the Border, that's going to become a coffee book. I'm going to grab every single TikTok. And so I only got to get to 101. And then it's going to become a coffee book that I can give to fans or sell it or do whatever.
Brilliant.
But that's it. So get ready for the coffee book. Yeah, illustrations and everything.
I'll do whatever I can to promote it, of course, but also sell it on our website. We'll do whatever we need to do to move it. You sell it in Vegas. We'll talk to Johnny at the Toy Shack. See if he wants to sell it there.
The cigar though, I want to try some cigars. I'm a cigar fan, man. I want to try some.
Yeah,
I'll go to your shop.
Yeah, we'll get together. We'll smoke some Vato cigars.
Yeah.
We have mild, medium, bold, extra bold. You tell me what your favorite cigar is, and then I can show you or give you what I think you're going to really enjoy, and I'll probably be pretty close. I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, see, my habit was always every Friday night after Refried Fridays at the Hollywood Improv. Before I would always be at the V Cut at a cigar shop right next door. Yeah, and that was my hangout spot every Friday night for 10 years. If you wanted to see me or get a spot or talk to me, you would find me at the V Cut next door. And
I
I would
love
just
it.
smoke cigars for 10 years. So now I remember when you got your cigars. I remember when you first got them out. I was like, look at this guy, he got a cigar. And I was thinking, man, maybe I should get a cigar. And then I said, no, I'm going to go do Spanish comedy. And left.
You know what? It's not too late. We can create a cigar for you. So absolutely, we can do a
Really?
comedy or a comedy cigar or a Richard Villa cigar.
Wow. Okay. I like a nice mild,
Sure.
no, a nice medium, Cohiba Red Dot. If you know the taste of a Cohiba Red Dot or El Rey del Mundo,
El Rey del Mundo, yeah.
El Rey del Mundo o Cohiba Red Dot, that flavor is just delicious. Rey del Mundo también, no sé why I like it so much. I don't know if it's the cheapest cigar, if it's the most expensive, but I like it.
Cigars shouldn't. I mean, I'm giving
like
away
wine.
Here. They shouldn't cost more than a couple bucks, because the material, what it costs to make, maybe 50 cents. It doesn't matter if it's a Cohiba or a Vato cigar, but it's all the marketing. So of course you're going to pay 20, 30 bucks for a Cohiba. Or if you want the Cuban Cohibas, they're harder to get. They're illegal, whatnot. But it sounds like you like a nice medium, almost to full-bodied cigar. I mean,
yes,
you might.
Dominican tobacco is one of my favorite. Dominican tobacco is one of my favorite. I'm like, wow, I don't know. I just really, really like the taste. And I've tasted Cubans, I've tasted other cigars, but I figured after years of sitting there in that V cut, I kept asking, hey, what's this? And how's this? And it's like, all right, okay. Says, yeah, every cigar is Dominican. I was
Perfect.
like, oh, really? All right, cool.
That's your
my
flavor
taste.
profile.
That's my flavor.
Yeah, I was Davidoff made a lot of my cigars. Our Las Vegas blend, which was mild but very flavorful. So that was made by Davidoff in the Dominican with all Dominican tobacco. But then we have other blends that are made in Florida by a Cuban cigar roller, and that's our Aloha blend. Our Cuban blend, we call it a Cuban blend, which is probably what you would like. It's our homage to the Cuban cigar. Our Kansas blend, which is a double wrapper, has 2 wrappers on the outside. And our Black Diamond, which is our boldest cigar. And then we make one that's 18 inches long called the All In.
All In? Okay, have you tried the All In?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, did you throw up?
You know what? No, because I will smoke it over a course of weeks. And I used it for advertising. So I'd walk out on Fremont Street with a 18-inch cigar. Like, where did you get that? I'd be like, at Vato Cigars. They have some of the best cigars in Vegas. And I'm Paul Vato, but I'm walking around advertising it. And or if somebody else bought it, But we had the guy that set the record was almost going to faint. He had to go get food afterwards because he took it down in 4 hours and 10 minutes. And this was, I think, the 18-inch by 60 ring gauge, because we make a 50, a 60, and then we make an 80 ring gauge. So maybe it was the 80 that he took down in 4 hours and 10 minutes. That's the world record for the All In.
I did that. I grabbed the big 18 one. They had the V cut. It's like, really, Richard? I was like, just give it to me, man. Today I'm gonna be here all day. I started smoking that thing an hour into it, bro. And I am a habit cigar smoker. I left out of embarrassment because I knew I was going to throw up. I was so nauseous, bro. I left and I'm throwing up in an alley. And I'm like, oh my God, never. I threw that thing away. I was like, never again. I mean,
it's probably the nicotine. It's it's a lot of nicotine, but you have to do what the old Cuban men do. And that's why you always see them, they have little blocks of sugar, because sugar negates the effects of nicotine. So if you ever feel, this goes for anybody, if you've smoked a little too much and you're feeling a little lightheaded and you're feeling the effects of nicotine, because it feels a lot like a sunburn sometimes. When you can get it through your hands, because I would roll cigars and all of a sudden you start feeling tingly. You're like, holy shit! You eat some sugar and it negates the effects of nicotine.
See, I never knew that. I learned something new every day, Paul. There you go. All right, okay, now I know.
Yeah, that's why these old Cuban men can sit around smoking all day. Su cafecito and a little sugar, stuck on a sugar. They'll on a sugar cube and then smoke their cigars all day and like nothing,
Paul, would you ever get into stand-up? Because I know we had this conversation. Have you ever dabbled into it? Have you ever decided, hey, I want to do this, man?
You know what? Thank you for asking. And yes, I've always wanted to do it. And I can tell you a little bit of what happened. And I think it's part of it is laziness. I think it's a combination of, at first, going, I'm not going to desecrate this institution of stand-up comedy. Maybe it was just an excuse, or I don't really have a point of view. No one's going to care what I have to say. And now that I'm older, I'm like, I definitely now have a point of view. But I feel like it's the time has passed. But I got into improvisational comedy by mistake, and this was in Chicago. I went to study at the Second City, Improv Olympic first, and that's where for people that don't know, that's where all the great, I think, comedians came from. And right now there's like Seth Meyers and his brother Josh, but Seth has his own late night talk show. Key and Peele, and Colbert, Stephen Carell, all those people, Tim Meadows, Chris Farley, going back, they all came out of the Second City. So I fell in love with improv because at 23, I had a decision to make. Do I buy this business? I was a business broker selling businesses. Do I buy this business, or do I go into Chicago and learn how to do stand-up? And none of my family had ever been in business for themselves, so I thought it'd be a good thing. And it was. I mean, it was a gourmet ice cream and coffee shop in the Chicagoland area. Again, when I bought it, I was 200 pounds. When I sold it, I was 300 pounds. That's how delicious this ice cream was. And, much like a dealer, I was getting high on my own supply of ice cream. So and then every year it's been like, oh, well, next year I'm going to try stand up. Next year I'm going to try stand up. And all of a sudden 30 years go by and I haven't tried it. So that's why I really do want to, Richard. And I've done it maybe, to be honest, I've done it 4 or 5 times. I took a class back in the 90s with Dobie Maxwell at Zanies in Chicago. I don't know if you've been there. But then, so I know comedy. I understand comedy. And Bobby Lee would tell me, like, he goes, man, you just got to get up there and do it. He goes, you haven't lived till you've bombed on stage. He goes, I do all the time. I go, no, you don't, because I've never seen him bomb. He's a genius when it comes to stand-up. And then he became a great actor, an improviser, and sketch guy, And then I was about 3 years ago, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 years ago, New Year's Eve, I opened for Steve Byrne here in Vegas. And by open, I mean he was gracious enough to let me do 5 minutes before Gary Cannon came up to do his hosting. And I was like, man, he took a big chance. I'm like, I'm sorry if I ruined your show. He was like, no. He goes, it was, it was good. It was by no means great. So, I've got thousands probably of jokes written, or ideas and stories. And I just interviewed Butch Bradley, and he was a resident headline comedian here in Vegas.
Yeah. Did you buy his wife's salsa?
What's that?
Did you buy his wife's salsa?
No,
Butch
he didn't
Bradley's,
talk about it.
Oh my God, it's the best salsa you'll ever have. Butch
And
Bradley,
he sells it?
If it's, give him this video. Dude, your wife's salsa? Amazing, dude. I want to go back just so I can buy another case. I don't know if that was the only time she did it, but Butch Bradley was nice enough to let me go up there and do some time too. He's a regular there at the LA Comedy Club.
With Joaquin,
And so he had his wife's salsa and it was warm. They had just produced it, and I was like, so I go upstairs. I'm with my wife at the hotel in the casino, and then I'm like, babe, look this. We're having salsa and all that. So I was like, wow, this is great salsa. And then on the way back, we're still eating the salsa. I was like, man, this is good salsa. So if you see him, ask Butch Bradley, hey, give me some salsa from your wife, man. Don't be mean.
Oh my goodness! I feel like we didn't get to cover that because I just interviewed him a few days ago. But I think we're going to do. Maybe it was last week. We're going to do a show. I think maybe here on Fireside where he's going to help me with my stand up, and okay, there's a hit. That's something that we keep. There's something that we keep. So thank you for asking. And I'm sorry I like then just derailed the conversation to be about me. But
no. But I was curious because I've known you for a long time. I even saw you in a Improv Olympic when I first started. When I was just starting, I know you guys were performing there, and I got invited by you. You were putting together a show, and through Martina Trucci and other comedians, we had met that long time ago. And so I always kept seeing your career. I saw when you were doing Mad TV. I saw when you were doing the cigars and all that, and I was like, why is this guy not doing stand up?
I want to do it, man. I really want to do it, and I really think now having thank you now having this podcast, I think has also really inspired me and motivated me. I think I've done everything backwards. Most people start working for a company and work their whole lives, and then when they start to get to their 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, then they're like, you know what? I'm gonna start a business. I did it backwards. I started, a business when I was 23, or, I took over a business and then started another company here in Vegas. And now I'm just like, I either want to work for someone else or follow my dream and do stand up. I want to, and you know what? I want to be on the road. I don't care. I mean, I'm old now.
But listen, here, same thing. Is what I did now is put myself in a situation where I pick what I want to do, but I had to do this. In 2013, I had to go to Mexico and start all over again. You understand? They took the hottest show in Hollywood, the Latino show, the Refried show, and they told me no more shows. And that for 10 years was a staple at the Hollywood Improv Friday nights. That was the hottest show.
I remember
Everybody went that. So when 2013, they tell me, nope, we're cutting the show. You're not going to do it here anymore. I was like, devastated. I was like, all right, then I'm going to go to Mexico and bring every Mexican comedian over here and do it in Spanish. And so I left. And that summer, I left with one phone number, and I head to Mexico City to find stand-up. And in 2013, I found it at a place called El Beer Hall in Mexico City. They had just started.
What was it called?
El Beer Hall. El Beer Hall. Just a beer hall.
El Beer Hall?
El Beer Hall. Yes. El
Wonderful.
Beer Hall. And that's where, go ahead.
No, I would say Rocksteady and some of the people in the audience want to know where they can find you on TikTok, which I think is Richard Comedy.
Yes, Richard Comedy. They can find me there on Richard Comedy.
Richard Comedy on TikTok and Instagram and all that. So
and Instagram.
Thank you guys for asking. So yeah, because when I first moved out to LA, I was at the Improv Olympic. We brought a show from Chicago called Touched by an Anglo. And of course, it was topical because there was Touched by an Angel was on at the time. And our group was Barrio Speedwagon. And it was a comedy group. And we that's how we found agents and managers. And then that's how I got on, ended up doing some TV. I did, Matt TV and Cedric the Entertainer and the Sarah Silverman Show. I was on a soap opera. I was on Bold and the Beautiful because I'm both bold and beautiful, for a couple of months. I was a bad guy. Of course, I'm Latino. Of course, I was a kidnapper. I was a bad guy.
Of course.
But I remember your show because it probably started in early, like 2003, right? 2003,
yeah.
2000.
Yep.
And so why did they no longer want to do it in 2013? Was it because of you?
Listen, I get the politics now of it. I get the politics of it because it is a struggle when you're dealing with management and you're dealing with other artists. You understand that stage, Friday night, 10 o'clock, there's a full house. And there's a bunch of comedians that have a lot of credit slobbering at the opportunity to go on that stage. But I was the gatekeeper. And I would tell them, no. I brought these Latino comedians for this Latino crowd. See, this never happens any other day. But Fridays at 10 o'clock. You guys don't book any of the Latino comics any other night. So this is their night, yes.
Hang on one second. I think you're breaking up, and I don't know if it's me. Audience, is Richard breaking up? Can you applaud? Because I don't know if it was, and we can cut this out.
No, it's okay.
It could just be me. Yeah, because it was kind of like warbling a little bit. So it could be the app, it could be me, or it could be you, because it sounds like other people can hear you. Okay.
Okay. Want to make sure that this is back connected. Oh, I think it's because this thing went back. Let me get more power in here. Maybe it
could be your internet. You know what? Let's take like a 2-minute break so I can grab some. Well, I was just going to grab water. I was just going to turn around and grab some water.
Yeah, grab some water. No worries. We're good. And I'm connected again.
I'm going to do the show facing away from you, just like Jim Morrison.
All right. Sounds good to me. I don't care as long as it gets recorded. You just don't like drinking in front of people. That's it. But yeah, it was that platform, and because at that time I wanted to be selfish, and I only wanted Latinos on that stage because I felt we never got another chance. Even the day that they told me, Richard, you only have 2 more shows. The day that they told me you only have these 2 last Fridays, I told my manager at the time, cancel whoever we have booked and give it to all the open micer Latinos. Find as many Latinos as you can get with a Latino name. You put them on that show and make sure all of them at least do 3 minutes. We had shows of 12 to 13, 14 people. just because I wanted them to leave and say, bro, that's what it feels like, because they're not going to give you another chance to another 5 or 10 years. So at least you got to taste a little bit. There you go.
Man, well, thank you. Because, and you know what? I mean, like, I get it. You know, I get business. I get it. But then they shouldn't have.
Okay. Can I tell you where my mistake was now?
Yeah.
After all this, everything sounds so heroic and rah, but I should have really built a relationship with those other comedians who are outside, Black, white, Asian, and I should have built more relationships with them, because I shouldn't have alienated myself, honestly. If I would, because I would think, no, Latinos is ours, and don't take this, and we don't have nothing. And that was my mentality back then. But now I think about it and go, no, you invite them to play, and they love what you bring, they're gonna invite you to play. You got to learn how to share. Don't put a label on it and don't share. Now, if I have a Latino show, no, I want to expose my Latino audience to new voices, give them new perspectives, new points of views. I don't want us to just think Latino. I want us to think broader than that. So I'm going to have to bring comedians like Louis C.K. I want to invite comedians like Dave Chappelle. I want to invite comedians that are going to bring another perspective, not just a Latino perspective. And I want my audience to grow. Why do we keep ourselves there? And that, I learned so much, right? I learned from my mistakes. And I realized, yes, they cut me out because I wouldn't let them play. And it was one of the biggest nights, but I understood, because they needed to make space. If you're not going to play with everybody, then we're going to make sure it's more diverse.
Well,
but it didn't. By the way, there was no other Latinos after that. We didn't get shit, by the way. But I also understood that building that relationship, something that I tell a lot of Latino kids is, I know you don't feel included. I know you feel ostracized. I know when you go to Hollywood, you don't fit in. I know you feel uncomfortable. But the only people that are going to hire you in Hollywood are in Hollywood. The only opportunities you're going to get are there in Hollywood. Do you understand? You need to go there. You need to be around there. If this is what you are, stand up, aren't you, at the Comics or Laugh Factory or Improv every day, hustling and asking and creating relationships and shaking hands. Don't stay in Riverside. Don't stay in La Puente. Don't stay in Huntington Park. They're not giving jobs there for comedians. The jobs are in Hollywood.
And see, and that's the thing, you know, a lot of times, so I don't know what to think, because sometimes it's like, oh, well, Hollywood's keeping us out. But I'm like, well, maybe we're just not making that extra 30-minute drive to get into Hollywood. You know, right? You have to be in Hollywood.
Because we're what do you call it?
Self-defeating?
Yeah, like we don't think we belong there. We don't feel included.
Which is true.
Diversity, equity, inclusion is not happening here. I mean, we don't feel included. We don't feel, when you don't see anybody that looks like you on that stage day after day after day, you kind of go, maybe I don't belong here. Without even realizing, you walk away. That's what happened a lot at the Comedy Store. The reason a lot of Latinos would leave is because they always felt ostracized. They always felt like they were not welcome. And so that is us doing that to ourselves. And I want comedians that are listening to this, go. Be nosy, ask questions, tap shoulders. It's okay. You know what I mean? We have to do that. So if you want to be represented, go be the first one. Tap on the shoulder, say, can I get a spot? Have you even asked? How do you get on? Are you being nice to everybody? Or you just sit there and fucking go in a corner and not talk to anybody and expect somebody just to tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you look funny. They're going to give you a career. The fuck?
I think sometimes people think that. They're like, well, why can't they recognize my genius? You know, it's like, because you haven't done shit, you know?
It's an ongoing thing. And at the end of the day, we're all responsible. You are responsible to represent who you are and where you come from. I'm responsible to represent who I am and where I come from. And we got to do a good job at it. I can't control what other people do. I can only control what I do. And it is what it is. And now I can give you advice. I can tell you how we can get in, but it's up to you to go and make the drive.
Sure.
Who was that saying? You can't get mad at the shit you didn't try or work hard for. That's good to say, right? But you can't get mad because you didn't get it. You didn't work hard for it. You didn't get mad. You didn't do anything for it. Did you do anything? No. Well, there you go. No, you didn't drive to Hollywood. No. You didn't work on viewing materials. Well, there you go. You don't get to be George Lopez or James Chappelle. It's okay. Just admit it or change.
Oh man, that is so true. I realized that I never put our your website or you're at what people wouldn't have. I
At
was
Richard Comedy. At Richard
at
Comedy.
Richard Comedy, yeah, because
Right.
there's a little window that I can put all this information in, and I was like, why did they ask what it was? And then I copied it, but I never put it in at Richard Comedy. There's a little fortune cookie that you can add at the bottom. So
I see that. You just
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
on there.
I wrote it in the green room, and then I copied it, and then I got so excited to see you, I totally forgot to enter it. But now it's scrolling. People can just tap on paulvato.com, or they can now they know it's at Richard Comedy at TikTok. But man, you've done such great work. I know, and I don't know if this is something you want to talk about, and if maybe we save it for another date. I don't know how you're doing on time, but I mean, this roasting that you're obviously very good at, but
obviously not.
But obviously, and you know who I'm having on the show. I think it's later this week. Is Alex Hooper? I don't know if you know Alex Hooper. He does the Daily Lollipop, and he was on AGT, America's Got Talent, and he roasted the shit out of like the judges. I mean, he just said horrible things to him, but they loved him. I mean, the audience loved him. Simon's like, oh my, like what? He made fun of like, I don't know, Heidi Klum or whomever, but he's gotten like 75 million views on social media and whatnot. So he's going to be my guest on an upcoming show, and he's actually written a book, how to be a professional roaster and all this, but they actually brought him back, so they enjoyed, I think, what he did. You, on the other hand, you got in a little bit of trouble. It's my understanding.
Yes. So this is what's going on. You can hear me, right? You can hear me correctly?
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Now, so I think it was on my end.
All right. So good. So what happens is this, man. I bring Spanish comedy in 2013. I go to Mexico City, and then I start working on bringing Latino comedy to the U.S. So I start introducing them to the improvs. I start working with big comedians. This guy that I started working with, he's like the Kevin Hart of Mexico, and he has a big social media following. And so me and him start touring for 3 years. We're doing the Microsoft Theater. We're doing these huge events, big stadiums, and we're touring for 3 years. And when I come back from a sold-out show in Guatemala, my manager tells me it's over. I remember when I told you I started again. I'm telling you, it's not too late. At 37, I went to go look for Spanish comedy. At 36, I went to go look for Spanish comedy, and I started from the bottom. And because I was already so seasoned in comedy, and I could speak Spanish pretty well, they took me right away. They were like, "Oh my God!" I was in Televisa for 6 months into it, and then I was on Comedy Central Latin America. Then they called me again to do another show for Comedy Central Latin America. I taped again for Adal Ramones, Televisa. Then Netflix calls and gets me an 8-episode series on Spanish comedy. And I bring all these Spanish stand-up comedians back in 2017, 2018. We shoot this thing called Sigue la Risa, an 8-episode series where I bring the biggest names in Latin America. And my career is blowing up, right? When the pandemic hits and they tell me, that's it, Richard. No more. This is the peak of my Latin American tour. I'm killing it in Latin America. The tour was called It's My Turn, because I brought so many Latino comics, including the girl that I was roasting. I gave her first Netflix show. I gave her first HBO show. It's not that the girl I was roasting, I didn't like her. She was a good friend of mine. But when my managers tell me that everything is over, I start drinking a bottle of vodka a day. As soon as that happens, I realize, shit, everything's done. For 20 years, all I've done is stand up. And now you're telling me I cannot feed my family. Now you're telling me that my savings are leaving me. For 6 months, all I saw was my money leave my bank account with no chance of recovering anything. I had to freeze every bill. I started getting into a real depressed mode, and I'm drinking a bottle of vodka a day. In September, this isn't in March, in September, Franco calls me and says, "Hey, man, I would like you to be part of this roast." I was like, "Great. Then I better get 2 bottles, because today we're having a show." Just because they tell you you're having a roast, you're working, doesn't mean that the last 6 months of you drinking a bottle of vodka go away. You add antidepressants to that, and you add marijuana to that, and you're self-medicating all day, and that's all you do all day. I was in the deepest, darkest hole. And he asked me to be on a roast with 8.9 million people watching. And I made a dumb ass of myself, dude. I called her a bitch. I did all this. But it happened. You know what I mean? When it happens, though, I didn't know how Mexico was going to react or Latin America. And storm came the next day. I mean, everybody started coming at me. I got death threats. They told me you'll never work in Mexico again. I said I don't want to because death threats. I'm not going anymore. So you understand? I was trending. I was #1 for like 3 days. El Gordo y la Flaca, el Televisa, Univision. Everybody wanted to know what happened on the roast, and of course, like she even said it to all her friends. This is the best thing that could ever happen to me. Because she went on every channel and she did every interview and she played the victim. And it's just the best thing that could have ever happened to me was Richard doing that. And my wife is here crying, going like, why am I getting death threats? Why is the baby getting death threats? Why is this happening? And I'm like, because I messed up. So that happened. And everything goes to hell. I realized what I've done. I realized that that's going to stay there forever. But I don't stop. I said, you know what? I can get up and fix myself, and I can shake this off, and I can fix my mistakes and become a better person, or I can let this eat me up. So I decided that's it, man. No more drinking when I'm working. No more this and that. I gotta go get therapy. I gotta go to AA. I gotta lose weight. I gotta learn what I did wrong. So a fan reaches out and says, why don't you take this course on sexual harassment prevention training, anti-bullying, and this, just so you know what you were doing wrong. And at least you have some insight on that. Well, afterwards, she tells me, your story was so funny the way you told it. Would you like to teach this? There's no shows. Keep in mind, there's no shows.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I did the bullying. She's like, that's right. See, we use other alcoholics to help alcoholics. We use other drug addicts to help other drug addicts. You're a good example of what not to do.
You're a great bully, but it's not bullying. If it would be like if you and I got into agreed to do a boxing match or MMA or and then we beat the shit out of each other, and then I'm mad at you because you beat the shit out of me. I'm like, well, didn't we agree to jump into the ring and fight under a certain set of rules?
I understand that. I understand that. Latin America doesn't understand that. See, I come with the mentality of the Comedy Store, but what she told everybody in Mexico is because they're not ready to do comedy, or it's because they don't know how to do comedy. I was like, no, it's because I was drunk. Don't generalize every other comic because I was drunk, high, and under medication. That I know what I did wrong. I'm not saying I didn't do something wrong, but don't blame other comics or say that we weren't ready, or don't say that I'm not funny. I made a mistake and I owned up to it. But don't generalize and say that I'm not funny. I'm funny. I was at a roast. And you know what? I talked to Tom Segura about this. And he was offended at the guy and at everybody. Was like, it's a roast, bro. You didn't knock on her door and say, hey, let's fight. They told you that's your opponent. Go at it. Regardless, if you do it right or wrong, you just lose and that's it. But there is no hard feelings. We don't get our feelings hurt. But they did.
Well, I mean, there's like, this is wrong on so many levels because, well, I never in a million years thought that any Mexican would ever be, I mean, the horrific things that I've heard and coming back.
They invented the word, puto. They invented that word.
It's the F word, really, for homosexuals. And it's thrown around freely to this day. Behind closed doors, I'm sure. I mean, I still hear it outside, but I mean, it's getting better. But you cannot tell me that they're really offended by anything that anyone has said. I mean, it's coming from this culture where, like you even talked about, like women still almost barely have rights, type of a thing. So I can't understand how. Like I'm on Tom's side. Like how in the world? I mean, I'm offended that happened, and it's quite the opposite as far as comedy is concerned because. I mean, when I started seeing that you were doing shows, and I didn't realize, I didn't put the two and two together, but I'm like, how are these Mexican comics getting into the improv? Not that I wanted them not there, but I'm like, they're obviously selling tickets, but it's not our kind of comedy. It's like going, it's this whack. It was like my parents' comedy. Like they think it's funny, or like men dressed as children doing shows and wacky, and it's all and like that's not what we do. I don't think but
no. But
well,
see,
good
there
for
is a change
them.
now. But that's not the comedy that is in Spanish now. There's real stand-up now.
Is
They
there?
don't dress up. Yes, no, you don't understand. The Carlos Vallartas, las Dani Sosas, the Franco Escamillas, the Mike Salazar, all these guys, they're all Richo Fari, they're all doing stand-up.
Like proper
That's why when I showed up in 2013, they were virgins, man. They were just starting. That's why I had such success, because I come in with 14 years of experience, and they're like, where did this guy come from? He knows how to do stand-up really well, and that's what we're trying to do. But they also developed and started writing, and now they're doing stand-up, not knock jokes, not Pepito jokes. These are real comedians that are now coming to the U.S. and selling out. Carlos Vallarta just created a huge splash at what Netflix is a joke festival. He was the talk of the town. He's up there doing Spanish and English comedy in multiple venues, killing it with his special on Netflix, his third special on Netflix.
Amazing.
Selling out improvs. And this guy talks, he says Jesus is not real. That's the name of his tour. Do you understand? Cristo no existe. That's the name of his tour. So do you understand? It's stand-up. These are not jokes.
Proper stand-up.
So the proper stand-up. And I brought that in 2013. And the improv, I remember that one of the managers called me and says, do you know what happened? We're celebrating 50 years of the improv. And in 50 years, we never had to say Spanish or English till you showed up. You showed up, and now every improv goes the Spanish or English show, because we have two. I was like, oh, not bad. Good.
You should be very, yeah. You know what? We all have our ups and downs, and I'm glad. I'm hoping that you've come out a better person for it. But you didn't do anything wrong, though. Well, besides being totally drunk, and if it wasn't creative the way you called her a bitch, then yeah, I guess it wasn't done right. But you should be ready.
You don't get crucified, yeah. But they need an enemy, and they need somebody to kick when they're down, and it's fine. And I got it, and I understood. And when my daughter sees that video, she is going to know what her daddy did afterwards, what actions he took. When she judges me, or when she says, what did you do after? I corrected my mistake. See, I did that mistake, and then I stopped drinking. Then I lost 50 pounds. And then I went and started teaching other people not to do that to other people. That's what I did to change. You might criticize me for that video, but I made a mistake and I fell and I got up and I fixed it. And that's what you do. But Mexico doesn't want to know that. And Mexico doesn't want to promote that. Why aren't they calling me right now? Why aren't they asking me, Richard, hey, what's going on? How you been? Nothing. No. But you know what? I'll tell you this. That girl I called the bitch, she's divorced. And I'm not going to say why. But let's just say I might be a psychic. And she was married for 6 months when that happened. That roast happened.
Okay, so I got to find this roast then. I'm sure there's
yes. And let me tell you, this girl, she was married 6 months when I roasted her, because she got married in March. So I started insulting her and talking about her husband being a producer at Comedy Central and all this, and this is the only way you got up there, and this and that. And then 6 months later, or a year later, they're done. I was like, ooh, am I a psychic?
I think you need to have a little. You know what? Let's bring him on Paul Vato Presents, because I'd like to get to the bottom of this, because I'll bet he's going to end up saying, like, you know what? You were right.
I guarantee you, you'll be like, yep, Richard was a psychic. I don't know what he ate that day, but he knew exactly what he was talking about. So I don't know. I don't know the whole story, and I don't really care. But you're absolutely right, and that's why I'm okay with it, because I know what I did to better myself. And we're good, and I'm gonna keep moving forward. And I realized in life at 44, I don't need to run. I've been running all my life because I see everybody around me running, and I run because they run, and that creates anxiety. And I keep running, and I'm like, what the fuck am I going? Why am I following Paul Vato or any of these motherfuckers? I already know where I'm going. Walk. As long as I don't walk, I'll make it. As long as I don't stop walking, I'll make it. If I don't stop walking, I'm gonna get to I don't need to run, because he's running, he's gonna fall.
It's that hair. It's that hair of the turtle, man. Slow and easy wins the race. And you're on track. And you could have let that moment define you, and you might be up to 3 bottles of vodka a day. I don't know. Was it good vodka at least, or were you?
Yes, I like. Well, it's not the most expensive, but it's my favorite. But That's it, man. You take care of that, and you go, hey, I can't. That's not the life.
Do you still have a few drinks every now and then, or did
Oh no,
you?
if I am not working, if I am not working and I am at home and I'm with my family or I'm with friends that I trust, yes. If I'm in public, if I'm at a comedy club, if I'm working, if I'm socializing, if I'm doing a podcast, no. You
No.
understand? In my
Yeah.
home, I can do it. Here is fine, and it's not to get messed up. It's if I want to have 2 drinks, 3 drinks, go to bed, we're good. That's it. But not in public, none of that. Just personal thing for me is I want to be in control now. I want to make sure that if I call you a bitch, I meant it to your face, so we don't blame it on the alcohol. That's me now. That's just me now. I want to make sure you got it clear.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
so
no.
same. If you call me a puto or something, I'll be like, wow. No, I think he meant it because
Yeah, he meant it. He was sober. He was sober.
he was sober. He was stone sober, man. Richard, man. Well, because and that was and maybe that's for a different show to do a deep dive because again, like when you see, I don't know, I don't even know what these characters, but I remember like El Chavo del Ocho and Ñoño, and I used to hate that character Ñoño because he was fat and I was fat, and they called me Junior, but in Mexico they call me Junior, so it was kind of always like they were making fun of me. I'm like, it's because you can't speak English, you can't say Junior, you're saying Junior, and now you're comparing me to Ñoño, so that there's a lot of also deep seated hatred there. Is that vodka? What are you drinking?
No. It's Diet Coke. No,
sure.
It's Diet Coke. No, where's the can? That's somewhere around. But no, but it's true. I made a video about that. It's really hard because you're not Mexican enough for the Mexicans, and we're not white enough for the white people. We're just stuck in the middle, and it's difficult to try to please both because I felt racism on the other side of that border. I remember going to these shows and I remember being laughed at or criticized by other comics or teased in a way where, look, bro, if you were in the U.S. and if I was making fun of your accent, if I was making fun of you, would get really upset, bro. And you have all your friends here and I'm taking the ha-has and the hee-hees and yeah, motherfucker. But when you get to the U.S., because you're going to want to go, I'm going to do the same shit to you, bro.
I don't forget.
You know what I mean? It's like, goddamn, I had cousins, bro. I would come, I would bring them clothes, and they talk shit. I'm like, bro, I brought you clothes. And you're talking shit? What the hell, man?
Yeah.
Like, why are you teasing? Why are you messing with me, man? I brought you clothes.
man. And you're right. We've suffered. I don't know, but since the late 90s, when I started doing comedy, and because every year was, there's a Latin explosion this year, starting with J-Lo and then Ricky Martin. And I mean, I even parodied the song Livin' La Vida Loca to Livin' La Vida Floja. I remember writing, because it worked in English, and it's living the crazy life became living the lazy life. And, but every year we even wrote a show and we were going to call it There's a Latin Explosion in My Pants, because we were so upset. Every year is a Latin explosion, which never happened, and it's like we would take our ideas to ABC, the All But Chicano network, or NBC, the Nothing But Caucasian network, or CBS, the Caucasian broadcast service, and they would be like, have you tried Television or Univision, which are, for those that don't know, those are the Latino. I used to call them the Mexican channel. That's how elitist I was. And then I was like, wait, this is the Spanish channel. It's not the Mexican channel. It's all of Latin America. And then, we would take it to Univision or Telemundo, and they'd be like, you guys are gringos. Like, this isn't for us. Like, you guys don't even do stuff in Spanish. We're like, but it's, comedy with a Latin flavor. They're like, no, you got to go to ABC, NBC, CBS, and see, those were kind of all the choices that we had back then. But it's kind of been the same way. So I love the fact that now we're able to kind of create our own stuff, because now we don't have to wait for someone. But it's still tough, and it's exactly what you said. I think we should do a show, Mexican in the middle instead of Malcolm in the middle.
Mexican in the middle.
We're right in the middle. We're too brown for America, but then not brown enough for Mexico.
My mother, I asked her that question because it is something you always ask yourself. And I said, Mom, why do we leave the U.S.? I mean, why do we leave Mexico? Why did you leave? He says, she's very patriotic and she loves America. And as soon as she got her citizenship, she's American. And she said, I have two mothers. We have two mothers in Mexico is a mother that couldn't feed us. She couldn't give us opportunities. She couldn't take care of me. Um, so she had to give me up for adoption. I had to go to my second mother. And my second mother that adopted me in the United States, she fed me, she gave me opportunities, she gave me jobs, she gave me a home. Uh, she gave me all of this. Do I dislike my mother? No, I knew the sacrifice I had to take to leave my mother. But in order for you and your brothers to have a better life, I had to go to my other mother. I don't dislike any of my mothers. They both served the purpose. I just couldn't live in the other side because she couldn't feed me. That's it. But you don't stop loving mothers. They both
No.
took care of you.
That's a wonderful sentiment. So your mother sounds very wise, and that makes perfect sense. And it's I mean, through no fault of your own. I mean, you were born in the U.S. You were born in Colombia, and then uprooted and taken to Mexico,
and then brought back at the age of 10. So but I got to live both cultures. Like I have dual citizenship. I got to experience both sides, and good or bad, regardless. It created who I am now. Like all these stories that I tell, people go, I can't believe it. I said, I can't believe you can't believe it. And then I meet people who go, I know exactly what you're talking about. You're right. I'm like, oh shit. Okay, so you live my life. Yeah. So it's there, but little by little, you'll see you create your own lane. Like the stand-up lane with the Spanish comics, when I created, started bringing all these big names, everybody opened their eyes. And regardless of what we think, Hollywood is still greedy. And as long as it's making money and in its business and they can make $1, they're going to do it. And right now they're selling out these Spanish shows. They're selling out, and it's gonna only get bigger. It's only gonna get bigger.
Are you still involved with that then? Are you still?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Ñoño, the person you were talking about, he's one of my artists.
My fucking nemesis.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Edgar Vivar. Who else? There's a couple other comedians that we have on tour right now, and Spanish comedians that I represent across the country that I keep pushing what Spanish comedy is. I want to now start putting them into the festivals. I would love for Just for Laughs to just give us an opportunity to do a Spanish New Faces, or have me host a new Spanish New Faces, or any of these Spanish shows that we might have on those platforms. I know Netflix is a joke. I know Just for Laughs, they were going like, why are you doing this? But now they have a chance to really step up and say, okay, are we going to be more diverse? Then we're going to bring Spanish comedy.
Wonderful. Well, I love that you're on the forefront. Do you think, when did you produce films then? Because I was going to ask, do you think that being a film producer has helped you then produce maybe these shows, or was that a different world? What was that like, producing films in Hollywood?
Well, it was in LA. They were not in Hollywood. I'll tell you exactly what happened. This company, it doesn't exist, called the Olympus Act. Now it doesn't exist, but it was a bigger company, Cine Mexicano. And what happened is my manager at the time was Acquisitions. He would buy and sell movies. So he comes to me to the table and he says, here's $250,000. I want you to do 10 feature films, all gangster movies. I said, sure, give it to me. This is right after my divorce from the Border Patrol agent. So I
Let me call Noel.
Yeah. And that's how Noel got. Yeah, that's how I met Noel. I put him in 5150, trapped in the 5150. I put him in a bunch of these movies because they're all Cholo movies. And I produced these 10 feature films in 3 years. And I did it with the intent of learning how to produce, how to edit, how to do all this stuff, and to put myself in front of the screen. But when you're the producer, you don't get to do that. I realized that when I got the money, I realized, oh no, I don't get to act. I get to go get some water because this is not enough money for 10 feature films. So I go ahead.
You said he gave you $250,000 to make 10 films, or per film?
No, for the 10 films.
What?
Do you understand what I'm telling you? I signed a contract with these Cinemax, and they all got national distribution. And I'm going to start making like clips of them so you can see the 10
How
feature films.
How do you even make a movie for 25? I'm sure some could have cost you 30, some could have cost you 10, but how do you, I mean, this is
what you do.
A food budget for a big film for one day. So
how did we start with the crack business? You got to use your family. So my right-hand man was my brother Teddy. At 17. He was my super producer. He now works for BuzzFeed. That's one of the head producers for Better Like. You understand? Yeah. But he started with me in the trenches making these low budget B movies that went straight to Walmart to the $5 bin. But we didn't care because now I bought a production truck and I had a studio in Huntington Park and I had bribed the mayor of Huntington Park to let me do shootout scenes and block off streets and use their sheriffs and did all this shit. And this was already a long time ago, so I can't get arrested for this. But we did all this crazy shit in Huntington Park. We shot everything. All 10 feature films were shot in Huntington Park, except for one in Mexicali, Hostage. That's the only one we shot in Mexicali. But other than that, everything else was shot in Huntington Park, 10 feature films.
Wow. What a crazy story. I mean, this is almost this.
And you can look them up. It's Trapped in the 5150. You can go to IMDb, look up Richard Villa. Zula Entertainment was a company that I was using at the Zula.
Oh, you can bet I'm going to look it up. No, that's
look at
so funny. I mean, and I believe you, but it just shows. I like to call it maybe like Mexican ingenuity. It's like you said, how do we start the crack business with family? You go in with resources, call in all your favors. But I could see where it would get easier. I mean, I still can't wrap my brain around that with 250,000, you could make 10 films, 250 a piece. Yeah. Okay. Easy. But I can see where it got easier because if you were buying your own equipment, then, okay, the first film you spend whatever it is to make that first film. But now you own the equipment. Now it's yours. Now you've got the trucks. You've got, and you're probably getting a little bit easier because now the crew is ready and Noel's going to do more than one film for you. And
and that's how I did it. I shot all 10 thinking at the same time. All 10 were here. I said, I have to shoot and say, okay, save this for that movie. We're going to save that for that movie. Do this for that movie because it's cholo movies. So gangster movies. Okay. I need more lowriders here. I got this one. Okay. Got it. Okay. Very good. Do we have footage of the other stuff? Yeah. Okay. Cut that into this. And then we're going to edit this. Okay. There you go. Boom. New movie. I had to get so creative with all these. Some cholos were another cholos. Huh?
Who wrote these movies?
Every single guy that ever came to me and said, I wanted to write a movie. Okay. Write me a cholo movie and I'll pay for you for it. And it's like, really? It's going to be made. The thing is, you're a script writer. Nobody's ever made one of your movies. Now you have an opportunity to write a fucking movie and get $1,000 for it. And it's going to be made. And you can now say, this is my first movie and on IMDb. Here we go. And that's how I did it, man. Everybody had a story to tell. Write it down. Let me hear it. What is it? So I was taking scripts and buying them for $1,000. That's it.
I would have told you a script for $1,000. Of course. You're like, all right.
I would have made it. And
you would have made it. We could have had a Paul Vato movie.
Paul Vato movie right now. So I have a project right now called El Sapo. It's about a Mexican wrestler that basically flees to the U.S. and finds his way back to the top. And it's a mini series, 10 episodes, 5-minute episodes each. I'm producing the same thing, just like I produce these films. But now we have more money, we have more equipment, and we're more experienced.
Let me stop you right there, sir. I'm in. Whatever your offer is, I'll take it. So
okay, we're doing El Sapo then. You're in El Sapo, bro. You're gonna love it, and it's literally 5 minutes, and we're planning on shooting this in 3 days.
Perfect.
So it's 3 days. We one weekend, and I already have the guy that does the wrestling, Mexican wrestling scenes here in LA. Says you just pick the date, and I'll introduce you on stage. And you can wrestle, just rehearse your moves, and we can do whatever you want. You can use the audience, you can shoot whatever. And those are the resources I'm talking about. I wrote a movie according to what I have around me. I said, oh, I have a very good friend that says, you have my entire promotional company to do whatever you want. Just use my logo. I said, sure. Can I get the mask? Yeah. And yeah, we got sponsored everything. So now we're just going to.
A real story?
This is a project I've been working on. Let me see if I can see the mask real quick. Hold on. Maybe we'll see it here. Hold on. Let me see if I can show it off to you real quick.
I also before I forget, I want to say that I love your logo. I like that you have your own logo.
Thank you.
The RV there on the back of your seat there. I didn't remember until I saw it.
Yeah. But, I don't know. It's somewhere in there. But yeah, the Sapo mask is somewhere in there. But I'll send you a photo of it. But yeah. Yeah, the logo on the seat, you mean? Yeah, it's because I have two guys that sit next to me for the podcast, and they kept taking my chair. And I said, this is my chair. Don't take my chair. I put my logo on. I said, now it's my chair.
Now it's my chair. It's got the RV right there.
RV on there. Well, Paul, uh, man, what else? How long can you stay here? I mean, I can
I
talk
can
all
I
night,
can
man.
go I can go all night. We can Joe Rogan this and go for 4 hours, whatever. No,
4 hours.
you tell me, because it's been such a pleasure to reconnect and see your
Mm.
success, and what a roller coaster, because you could have let that moment define you. So you are obviously a man of strength, and to be able to then go, like, just do that mind shift, and now you're teaching that's what gets me, is that you're teaching
Yeah.
an
And
anti-bullying class.
yeah, but then now this becomes part of my routine, my act, and a lot of people tell me, "Well, what do you talk about then?" I talk about my life on stage. That's it. Shit that happened to me. Because you're already offended at everything. So if you get offended at anything that happened to me, I'm sorry, you go get your own life and go get offended at that. Because why are you mad at me because it happened to me? Stop getting mad because it happened to me. Okay, just enjoy the show. People just can't wait to cancel or say, "Hey, look at what you're doing." Bro, just enjoy your life.
People can't wait, and most of the time, it's not other Latinos that are doing it. It's other people are being. It's just other people being offended. Even like this whole Latin X thing. Is it?
What's your opinion on that, on Latinx? And be honest.
I get both sides. The thing is, I don't think that you should go Latin X when Spanish is a language that's based on gender. There's the male and the masculine, and that's just the way the language is. You're changing a language just because you're offended that that you're going. But I get it. Like, oh, she's an actor, or I get it. Like, oh, an attorney is an attorney. It's not a female attorney; it's an attorney. But I don't think you're allowed to change somebody's language just because you're offended that
what we're talking about, microaggressions. That's what you're talking about, like little things that bother you, and you go, okay, I don't want to be called a female lawyer. I just want to be called a lawyer. For many years, a lot of comedians would say, I don't want to be called the Latino comic. This is Gabriel, this is George Lopez, this is Willie Barcena, this is every other comic who's Latino, never wanted to be a Latino comic. You know what I did? I made myself number one when you Google best Latino comic. You don't want it? I'll take it. I took it. I took it and I ran with it. And I've been best Latino comic. I don't know, somebody now wised up and got me number 3, but I was number 1 for like 11 years, bro. Easy.
Because that's what everybody else is searching for. Like, oh, who's that Latino comic? I don't know.
And I would come out, and I would come out number 1, but they would never do that. They never got that when it came to Google. And I got it right away in 2010. I was like, they don't want it? I'll take it.
I'll take it.
And I was getting a ton of jobs because of that.
That's amazing. No, that's great. It's like they want to, I'm a comic who happens to be Latino, but it's easier to go like, yeah, I'm a Latino comic. Like,
but how quick did you go do Que Locos?
Right.
Oh, wait. Now you're Latino? We get to pick when we're Latino or when it's better for us? That's the hypocrisy that I keep looking at these comics that say, hey, I know I just want to be a comic. Yeah, but then they commend you. So you're the first Latino to ever do that. Now you want to pick up your chest and go, why didn't you argue then? Why didn't you argue, hey, I'm the first comic to do this?
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
Yeah. Thank you.
No.
I was actually I think I was on Que Locos, and it was as a that was Mike Robles' show, wasn't it?
Yes,
was that
on Galavision.
Okay, so I was in New York. I went to Saturday Night Live because my friend got hired by SNL. This was in like 98, 99. He got hired by SNL, so he invited me to come out to New York to his first show. So I was around there for I ended up staying like a couple of weeks in New York, had a great time. And then I saw that Que Locos was filming at Caroline's. So I somehow, I remember I went by myself. I kind of connected with a young lady next to me. So we looked like we were a couple. But Mike Robles pulled me up on stage because we started interacting, and then he pulled me up on stage, and I still remember I was wearing like shorts because I'm from Chicago, I was wearing shorts, like Doc Marten boots and like a loose shirt. And he was just basically making fun of me, but we were cracking the people up. And then he goes, hey man, you should do stand up. And I've been friends with Mike ever since. So this was in the late 90s. So that just brought back this memory that I was actually, and then I saw it years later on TV, because they would replay Que Locos all the time. Yeah, Robles.
But they didn't mind to be Latino comics back then. So now
That's
they do.
brilliant, though. Best Latino comic. That's you. I'll
Yeah.
take it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Oh man. But listen, Paul, I'm gonna let you go. I do want to go out to Vegas.
Yep.
Can I visit you? Can I bother you? Can I say, hey, Paul, let's have lunch out there? Or do you ever do this live? Do you ever have a podcast live? Or when are you coming to LA?
Well, yeah, I would love to either, we could do this in person and but stream it live like this on Fireside. I love this platform. It's started by Fallon Fatemi, and then Mark Cuban is one of the big investors. And I love the simplicity of it because it's saved on the platform. So and you can interact, you do it live. So even if you just have a few people in the audience, it's better than having no people, when we do a podcast via Zoom. But yes, I would love when you come out to Vegas. You must let me know so we can connect with. I'll connect you with Toy Shack Johnny. We can have.
I wanna go to the cigar shop. I wanna have a cigar. I wanna smoke a cigar.
That'll be on me. The cigars will be my treat. We can hang out, smoke some cigars, or I'll come to LA because I'm there. Whenever I get work. I had a house there, but my ex-wife has it now. But,
See, that's why you should have told her, find happiness, bring him here. But whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, you have to take the 15 to Vegas when you come to LA or when you're going to LA. Mm-hmm. I live right off the 15 before you hit the 10.
Oh, like by
Foothill, by Victoria Gardens, that area. I'm like 2 miles away from there.
Oh,
1 mile away. So you're gonna get off on Foothill and just come to my house. I'll send you my address. We can hang out here. When you're going to LA, I'll go with you to LA. As a matter of fact, leave your car here. You've been driving. I'll drive us to LA, wherever you need to go if you're doing a show.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go see a show, let me know.
I would love nothing more than that.
If this happened, you're going to do my podcast. You're going to do the American Illegals podcast, bro. That's what I'm telling you.
I love it.
We can do here.
It's a great name, and I really want to thank you for spending a lot of time with me and great reconnecting. And I'm glad that you're finding all this great success. And if there's anything I can do to help or take something off your plate, let me know, because I'd be more than happy to, even if it's just, helping you promote. But I'm going to make it out to LA, and I want to do stand-up. So maybe you can help me with that. Because
why don't we do this? Let's do a live together on TikTok and bring your material, and we're just going to work it out. And we'll let the fans also work with us. And just bring ideas, because I'm going to bring my ideas. And I'll say, okay, I have an idea of a Paul for this joke, blah, 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 blah. And then we just hash it out on the air and call it, we just work material out. That's it. And we do another show where we're just working material out.
I love that idea. I love that.
And let's do it on TikTok so people can watch us, because then what I'll do, the material that I work with you, I promise the audience that I'll give them a full stand-up show by Friday. So what I'll do is I'll work the current material out with you, Paul Vato, and then I'll say, okay, Paul Vato gave me that tag, this tag, and this tag. Let's see if it works. And then I'll do it at the haha, and by Sunday they can see the stand-up and go, this is what Paul Vato helped me with. The original video.
I love that idea, because I feel one of my strengths is punching up, and maybe that's what everybody says, like, oh, well, because maybe that's the easiest thing. I don't know, but I'm always able to look at somebody's material and go like, ooh, you could say this or do this. So I don't know if that's in itself is a talent or not, because if it is, I'm like, well, then why don't I just do that with myself? But I find it so much easier to do it for other people. And maybe it's just our natural.
Yes. If we do a writing session, that's it. It's like, okay, Paul, so this is what happened. This is my idea. This is where I'm going with the joke. And then you go, no. What if you said this? And I've done a million of these writing sessions where it becomes so much fun because everybody's tagging. All of a sudden, the audience is going like, no, you guys should say this. And you're like, oh, my God, he's right. Look at this. So I love the audience get to participate.
I love the participation aspect of the audience, and then for you to be able to give them a final full product. Then
I'll be punched up. I say, look, you guys want to see what Paul Vato did, and then you even grab it and share it and go, look, me and my boy Richard, we worked on this. Tell me what you think, and then they can see the process of, oh, you told them about that tag. Yeah, I gave him that tag. Oh, that's hilarious. That'd be great, man. Are you down to do this?
I am down to do that. You tell me, because
I'll set it up. I'll send you. Yeah. What's your schedule like? What's good for you? When is it?
I'm pretty open now, except for these. That I've been doing interviews, but I can within the next week I can stop sending out invites, and then I won't get any, any people. Oh, and thank you you used Calendly, didn't you? You used it's a very non-Latino thing of you to do. So you and Anthony and Citric both use Calendly, and I was like, I didn't expect any Latino comedians to use Calendly. Like, yeah, I'll do it. Let's just set it up. Like, all right.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem. All right, so we're on then. Let's do a live on TikTok, me and you, and let's do a writing session. I'm going to promote it, and I'm going to put up that we're going to be doing it together. So if they want to go on our live and watch it, I'm going to set up maybe 8 o'clock. Is that good at night?
You know what? Yes, 8 o'clock, except maybe on Tuesday, because I record. I'm a co-host on Film Talk with AJ Dean, an award-winning podcast. But so really, I think Tuesdays at 8 might be the only day that's not good for me. So any other day.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. You got it. Let's see if we work out Wednesdays. You got it?
Wednesdays, I think, would be good, unless Butch Bradley and I do something similar here on Fireside. But if you set it up for Wednesday at 8 and let's do it.
And if it doesn't work, we'll do another. It doesn't matter. We can do it whenever we want, because literally I'll let you know. Are you busy right now? Let's do it live now.
Let's go live.
Let's go live.
I've been wanting to go live. I got banned I thought I was banned for 2 months. So I don't know if you know Jeffrey Keller. He's a host of the Pocho Hour of Power. He has his at is my mom's white. He's my mom's white, and he's open for Paul Mooney. So I had him on the show, and I was actually doing a live, but I was playing Call of Duty, and so I was doing a live, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to listen to Jeff's. He was on Felipe Esparza's podcast, so I'm listening to Felipe Esparza's podcast, and Jeffrey's telling these crazy stories, and I'm cracking up. He's talking about Paul Mooney, so the whole thing is laced with the N-word. And I'm laughing because it's hilarious, and it's Jeff telling these stories about Paul Mooney, but then all of a sudden I get banned, and I'm like, it was that damn podcast, for hate speech or something. And I'm like, I didn't say it. And I was laughing because these were hilarious stories. Now, of course, when Jeff came on Fireside, he said that Paul Mooney said homie, and I almost said, like, I don't think he used the word homie, but go on. So I thought I was banned till 7/5, and then I was like, fuck, I can't go on TikTok live for 2 months. I'm like, that seems excessive. And then I realized, because it's from China, it was 5/7. So I'm able to go. I am able to go live, and I'll try not to play Jeffrey Keller in the background. So
no N-words, please, Paul. I've already been canceled once. I don't need this again. I don't think I this anymore. So let's not use the N-word.
I get that now. I didn't even use it. I was just laughing. So.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you.
Ese hombre holding up the bottle. Look a little closer, cigar and Moscato. An actor in improv coming from Chicago. Outdoor, make way for Paul Vato.